Oh, excuse me. I apologize, y'all. But it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Um, I'm going to be doing a little solo today because Leonard's taking a much needed vacation. I'm not going to tell you that he's on St. Simon's Island because I don't do that. I don't tell people's location. I don't do that to people. So I'm not going to tell you he's on St. Simon's Island on Reed Street, 2015 Reed Street. I'm not going to tell y'all that. That's where he's at. So, Leonard, enjoy. If you're looking at the podcast today, looking at the show today, go ahead and enjoy yourself down there. I hope this is on. It should be on by now. But yeah, go ahead and enjoy yourself. Your much needed vacation. We all need a vacation every once in a while. I know I took one last week, although it wasn't much of a vacation in my opinion. It was a lot of driving. But I did. Let's say this. I will tell y'all this. I did actually get to see the Jackson's house in Gary, Indiana last week. It's an interesting thing because if y'all ever get a chance, if you ever go to Gary, Indiana, and there's really nothing in Gary actually, it's if you ever get a chance to get there, or you're going to Chicago and you drive through Gary or whatever, stop by that house. That house is very, 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 very small. Now, in case y'all don't remember, if I'm not mistaken, the Jacksons had the parents, they had 9 children. So they had 9 children, and plus the 2 of them, that's 11 people living in a house about, I don't know, that house, it may have had 2 bedrooms in it. It was, I mean, when I say it's small, it is extremely small, but it's cool though. It's cool. It's an interesting thing. They have a monument to Michael Jackson in the front yard. And I forgot to post those pictures when I took them. I forgot about that. But anyway, it was very interesting riding through there. And also, Gary, I went with my boy Bob Spoon, and he's from Gary. And it's interesting. You can see how Gary has gone now. From what he was telling me, it's a very vibrant city during the 70s and probably part of the 80s and all of that, and prior to that. But the for some unknown reason, there's still the biggest employer there, if I'm not mistaken, is U.S. Steel. So U.S. Steel is still there. It's still there, but Gary itself has gone down. It's like a lot of urban centers that were urban cities that were centered around manufacturing and things of that nature. They have gone down since the 70s, probably started during the 60s and stuff like that. I know there was a lot of cities, there were a lot of quote unquote riots after Dr. King was killed, and the states never actually rebuilt those cities. And I'm thinking Gary is suffering from that too. But it's very interesting, the city. Outside of the city, vibrant, clean, nice. We actually stayed in a place called I think it was called Maryville, which is outside of Gary, a suburb of Gary. Nice, clean, all that. You go into Gary itself, like a lot of urban cities, old burned out buildings that have been burned out for years that nobody's bothered either tear down or rebuild or anything like that. A lot of decay. And it's very interesting that dynamic, because for years, going as far as I can remember, back to the Reagan administration, the United States has always had what do they call those things? Urban renewal programs and things of that nature. Matter of fact, HUD itself was created because of that. Housing and urban development. It was created to rebuild the inner cities. At least that's my understanding of it anyway. But they don't do it. They haven't done it. So I'm just kind of curious as to where all this money is coming from, because everybody has every administration since the Reagan administration, from what I can tell, what I remember, has had something about urban renewal or enterprise zones and all kinds of stuff like that. And these cities still look like that. And I don't understand why. I really don't understand why. Where's all this money going? Who's getting this money? What are they doing with it? Are the states getting the money and holding off on them, or are the cities getting the money and putting them toward other things? I don't understand. It's just it's very it's a very interesting dynamic to me. And also one other thing I noticed about the Gary, the house where the Jackson's house. That's because 2300 Jackson Street or something like that. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, it's right behind Roosevelt High School. And if you know anything about anybody from Gary, a lot of the black people in Gary went to that school. It's a huge school. The school is still there. It's just they closed it down, but the school is huge. It takes up maybe about 4 or 5 blocks, the whole campus of it. It's a very huge school. And I was sad because I knew a lot of people from Gary that I went to college with, undergrad when I was at Tuskegee, and they went to Roosevelt. That's how I knew about the school. So it's kind of interesting that school, a historic school in Gary, is now closed. Um, I don't know. Well, it's kind of what's going on here in Augusta. They were talking about closing certain high schools in Augusta because of low enrollment and low test scores or whatever reason they can come up with. That's what they were doing. And they ended up doing a proposal recently to close Josie High School, T.W. Josie High School. And I didn't realize this. This is my own ignorance because I never paid attention to it. T.W. Josie was named after a black educator. I did not know that until, a few months ago, actually, when I actually saw a sign, a picture of him, and I realized that the school was named after him. I think his first name was Thomas. But it was interesting. They were looking at Lucy Laney, which is another predominantly black high school in Augusta, and they also proposed closing Glen Hills, which is Glen Hills High School, which is one that I work for and that I graduated from. And anybody who knows anything about Augusta, they know that you cannot close Laney High School, Lucy Laney High School. That's, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, is the oldest black high school in the state of Georgia. There are other high schools. It was a school period, black school period in Augusta. And when Laney was created, it was created specifically for black students. And that school is, if I'm not, it may be over 100 years old. I'm pretty sure it is. As a matter of fact, the school is so old. Let's say this. It started out as Haynes Normal School, I think is what it was called. And one of the first students to come out of that school was Mary McLeod Bethune. Lucy Laney taught her. So that's how old this school is. And it's been in continuous operation for probably over 100 years. Matter of fact, I know it's over 100 years. So that's one thing. So you can't close Laney in Augusta. You would have a riot to no end because pretty much everybody that grew up in Augusta has either graduated from Laney or has a relative that graduated from Laney. So that was off the table no matter what. I don't even know why they even proposed that because it wasn't going to happen. The next school they proposed was Josie, T.W. Josie. And T.W. Josie was the second oldest black school in Augusta. And I'm using race because these schools have always been predominantly black. So that's why I'm using black in there. They were always predominantly black schools and predominantly black neighborhoods. Now, T.W. Josie was in a neighborhood, vibrant neighborhood. It was right down the street from it was Sunset Projects, and it was a neighborhood around and all that. Well, they tore down Sunset years ago and built apartments, but the apartments are for people who work, who go to the Medical College of Georgia, maybe work at Augusta State or somewhere around there. It turned basically into a college area because, excuse me, that's mostly, if I'm not mistaken, that's who mostly lives there. So the enrollment dropped tremendously because there aren't any high school age students, many that live in that area. So they weren't going to do that, and then they switched to Glen Hills, and there was some pushback, not much pushback, but there was some pushback about closing Glen Hills. But eventually, they settled on closing T.W. Josie and turning it to a career center. And by career center, I think they mean a vocational school, which they didn't need to close it to do. They could have just left it open and turned it into career center. It still would have been a high school. So, because it's still going to be, if I'm not mistaken, still be centered on high school students. So, I don't know why they're talking about making it, closing it and turn it to a career center when they could have kept it open as a high school and did a vocational school for it. All vocational students can go there, and I think that's a good thing in terms of turning it into a vocational school, because there's been a big push in the state of Georgia to have students go to college. And as anybody who's been in education knows, not everybody needs to go to college. Not everybody should go to college. Not even everybody should think about going to college. But everybody does need a vocation or a job. So if you have vocational education, what we called it back in the day, vocational education, you have people who can get into careers and make a very good living off of those careers. As I tell my students all the time, I had in my old house, I had an HVAC unit, air conditioning unit put in my house. Cost me $4,000 for that one unit. $4,000. I had 2 units. It cost me $4,000 for that one unit. The guy who worked on my unit, who installed my unit, he had people working for him. He had 4 different jobs going on at the same day. Exact same time, 4 different jobs. Now, let's say he has to buy the material, blah, 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 and all this stuff and all that, pays people and all that, overhead, all that stuff. That's $16,000 he made. After he pays everything, he probably pocketed about $8,000 a day. That for those days that he worked on, for that day he worked on my stuff. That's still pretty good. I mean, I was like, that's a very good living. So I encourage my students, don't worry about going to college. If you don't want to go to college, don't worry about it. You can make a very good living doing other things. I have one of my students, he's a junior. He's talking about going into the fire department. Another one, he's talking about, one of my former students, he's talking about getting his CDL. That's what we need to do. Encourage our kids to make a good living, to get a job, to make a good living. Everybody doesn't need to go to college. And we need to stop pushing that narrative. So I applaud the Richmond County Board of Education for doing that, for coming up with this career center. And from what I understand, they're going to keep the T.W. Josie name, which the alumni of Josie and everybody else said you should at least keep the name. If you want to change it from a high school to a career center, which I think is still a high school, just go ahead and keep the name. Just keep the name. That's all we want you to do. Keep the name. You're going to keep the building, add to the building, do whatever to the building. Keep that name. And that makes sense to me, because it's a tribute to not only the man himself, but all the people who graduated from that school, all the people who attended that school. And they have a proud legacy, just like Laney does. They have a very proud legacy in Augusta. So I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I just went off on this. It just made me think about this when I was in Gary last week. I didn't intend to talk about this, but that's one of the things. And Marion, okay, she was from Macon. Okay, but she came here and made history here. So that's what counts the most. She made her history here. And Lucy Laney as a school may have been started, as a high school was started in 1949, but the school itself is much older. As I said, it started out as Haynes Normal School and Haynes Institute. So I'm not talking about when it became a high school. I'm talking about when it became a school, period. That predates 1949 by a lot of years. A lot of years. As I said, Mary McLeod Bethune went to school, was taught by Lucy Laney. So that's telling you how old this Haynes Institute or Haynes Normal School, whatever it was called, how old it is. So, and Emmett, Emmett graduated from Laney, so yeah, they have a proud legacy of that school. Um, one other thing I want to talk about, I just saw a video which is interesting to me, and it was talking about, and I hope this is coming out on my Facebook page. I can't see it. No, listen, man. Hey, this is my show. That's my show. Stop coming up with facts. I'm telling you fiction, you telling me facts. Listen, we just gonna go with what I said. You're right. High school, yes. I'm talking about school, period. Talking about school, period. That's still in existence. That's what I'm talking about. Um, the something video that I saw earlier, a few minutes ago, actually, and it was talking about it's a video of that idiot Marco Rubio on Fox News talking about how what Iran is doing, the illegal things that Iran is doing. They're saying that impeding commercial traffic, maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz is illegal, and that's a terrorist act. And he went on to say that stopping that boarding ships in international waters is a terrorist act. I mean, he was just going on off about how this is a terrorist state and blah 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 and all this and all this. Is there justification for this stupid ass war that Trump and his people got us into? And as soon as he started saying that, I was like, this dude's a straight hypocrite. He's a straight hypocrite. Trump is a straight hypocrite. That's how we know that what they're doing is not about what they're saying. What this war that they started has nothing to do with them terrorism or stopping ships in the Strait of Hormuz or illegally selling oil or any other stupid or even nuclear weapons, any other stupid ass reason that they've come up with. Because their narrative about why they started bombing Iran changes from day to day. Damn near twice a day it changes. Even talking about the nuclear weapons thing that they were talking about. They had nuclear weapons, or they were trying to get nuclear weapons. They've been the Republicans have been spinning, and that government period has been spinning that narrative for like 15 years. They're months away. They're 2 weeks away. They've been saying that shit for years. But Iran still doesn't have any nuclear weapons. They had no proof of it. No proof whatsoever. None. But that's one of the justifications. And they're saying that they had they were developing nuclear weapons, but we had inspectors come in and inspect the places that they said they were enriching uranium to had uranium, and Iran said we were using it for domestic purposes, not for weapons. They had no proof that they were doing anything else. They had signed an agreement with I think they call it JSOP with the Obama administration, where they said they would never develop that. Lift the sanctions against us, give us our money back that you took from us years ago, back in 79 or 78 or something like 79, that you froze our assets that you froze. Give that back to us, and we won't mess with no nuclear weapons. We won't do it. We don't need them. We're not trying to develop a nuclear weapon. That's not something we're interested in. And if they did, what's the big deal? That's the thing that kills me, the hypocrisy of the United States. There's only been one nation in the history of the world that has used a nuclear weapon or an atomic bomb on somebody. And that was us. That was the United States. And they did it twice against the Japanese. Killed hundreds of thousands of people. We're the only ones that did it. So why are they talking about, it's a terrorist state, they might use it? We have an idiot in charge who's subject to do anything. So why are they more why is Iran more of a threat to the world than the United States when we're the only ones that's ever used it? They like to call Iran a rogue state. We're a rogue state at this moment, moment in time. We're a rogue state. Our president is out here starting wars for no reason, kidnapping leaders of other countries, sending missiles to blow up boats in the middle of the Caribbean Sea with little to no evidence that they're doing anything illegal. And even if they are, they're in international waters. They're not in the United States waters. And all they're carrying is drugs, if they are carrying drugs. And they weren't even carrying it to the United States. But that's the stuff that he's doing. So why is it that Iran is a bigger threat to the world when we do more dirt than anybody else? We do more dirt. The United States has done more dirt than any other country, other than the countries involved in slavery. We've done more dirt. We've caused more world leaders to die. We've caused more people to die because of, in our eyes, battling communism or whatever we're doing than any other country. And we're always back in the wrong side. That's stuff that we're doing. So why is Iran considered a terrorist state, a threat to America, when Iran don't even give a shit about America? Let's be real. The Iranian leaders don't wake up every morning, how are we going to get rid of the United States? How are we going to destroy the United States? They don't think like that. They don't need us. They don't need us. I don't care. Let's say this. I had this thing about snakes. I don't like snakes. I don't care what kind of snakes it is. I don't like snakes. And I brought that up because I was doing something in my yard the other day and I saw a snake. That's what made me think about this. I don't like snakes. As long as that snake doesn't come into my vision and doesn't bother me, I don't bother with the snakes. I don't care. You can go anywhere you want to, as long as you don't come in my house. Because I'm bigger than a snake. A snake is not a threat to me unless it comes into my house. So why are we, the United States, worried about Iran when Iran is not even threatening us? They made no threat to us. They didn't do anything to us. Not since 1980. When that crooked ass Ronald Reagan struck a deal with them to release the hostages, the Iranian hostages, they ain't done nothing to us. They haven't done anything to us. They've been over there living their life. And Trump's hypocrisy talking about, well, they're cracking down on their on protesters. He did the exact same. At the same time he was talking about them, he was doing the same shit here. Exact same shit. Cracking down on protesters for no reason. Peaceful protesters. And I've said this before. Even if the Iranian people wanted the United States to come in and help them free from that what is the word I'm looking for? I can't think. The religious leadership that they have. Even if they wanted that, they wanted to change and become a democratic system or whatever. The minute the United States bombed that school, that changed everything. And that was in the first couple of days. That changed everything. And they did it twice. As Leonard said, they did a double tap. They did it twice. So now, as usual, United States has created a whole new list of enemies. A whole new list of enemies. People who might have been on our side, who might have supported us, and whatever came down the pipe when they had a change of, they changed their government or anything like that. Now you built a whole new generation of people who hate the United States. So who's the biggest threat to world peace than us? We bombed Venezuela. It could have been a war. It didn't. Now we're bombing Iran. We're a bigger threat to world peace than anybody else. The only other country that's a threat to world peace is more than almost as much as us, or pretty much the same as us, is Russia. And we're not bombing Russia. Russia has caused more havoc and pain in Europe than anybody. They've been doing that. It's always been the United States and Russia. Ever since World War II, the United States and Russia. Every war, or damn near every war that the world has had since that time has been either the United States or Russia or both of them combined in it. Korean War, Vietnam War, Afghanistan War, Iraq War. Before that, before the United States went to Afghanistan, Russia was in Afghanistan. Those are the two countries right there that's caused more problems than anybody else. It's not China. It's not Iran. Well, I take that back. I forgot one country, Israel. Israel. That's the other country. Those three, the three of us, we've caused more problems in the world than anybody else. And it's all because of one thing, money. That's it. Money. Everything's about money. It is not about creating peace. It's not about making the world safe and all that. It's about money. It's a grift. It's all it is. Everybody wants money. Now, we've said this before, and I'm gonna repeat it again. But one of the things that we've said before is Trump wants that oceanfront view in Gaza. They want to turn it into a resort. That's what they want. That's what he wants. That's why he allowed Israel to destroy Gaza. Because the not Hezbollah, Hamas did attack Israel, and I still believe Israel knew it was coming. They just allowed it to happen. To the end of my time, I will believe that Israel knew that was going to happen. They have too good of an intelligence. Their intelligence is second to none. They have spies all over the Middle East, and you mean to tell me y'all didn't know that that was going to happen? Now, you might not have known the day, but you knew it was going to happen. But I digress. They're talking about, but everything they've done since October 2024, I think 2023, whatever, October 7th, whatever date it was, has been above and beyond. They've literally destroyed and killed hundreds of thousands of people, destroyed the entirety of Gaza. Now they're shooting missiles into Lebanon because they're trying to get rid of Hezbollah. But of course, as usual, Israel does what it normally does: it hits civilian targets, and they try to claim that oh no, it's a mistake, or Hezbollah. Same thing they say about Hamas. They have tunnels underneath, so that's why we're bombing apartment buildings, because they have tunnels underneath the buildings. They have tunnels underneath the hospitals. They have headquarters underneath the hospitals, underneath the school. That's what they always say. That is their excuse for every single thing. Every single thing. Whenever they hit a civilian target, they always talk about they have tunnels or headquarters or whatever, offices or something underneath that building. That's why we chose that particular building. We know they have it there. So that's why we did it. So you have that much intelligence to know that they have tunnels underneath the hospital, but you didn't know that Hamas was going to attack you on October 7th. Yeah, your intelligence is that good to tell you specifically where their headquarters is, and they also have so much good intelligence that they can tell where the leaders of these groups are at any point, but you didn't know that Hamas was going to attack Israel. You didn't know that. That's why I know everything is a lie. All of this stuff is a lie. But getting back to what I was in the video, the interesting thing about it was they said that it's illegal for Iran to impede maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, before this war, Iran wasn't doing that. Iran didn't do it at all. Iran was letting countries go for free. They didn't charge them anything. Now, as a condition for this ceasefire, they say, hey, We're going to get $2 million from every ship that comes through there. That's hundreds of ships. Everybody going to pay us $2 million, and we're going to get some of that money to Oman because they control part of the strait too. We're going to make sure everybody get paid. So before, ships would go through for free. Now they have to pay a toll because of Trump's dumbass. And that's going to keep prices up. You don't think the price of gas, that oil companies are not going to pass that money, that $2 million on to us? Now, they say, Trump likes to say, well, we only get 20% of our oil from the Middle East. Well, that 20% has caused the price of gas to go up by about almost $1 or more than $1 since this war started. And it's going to keep going up because the reserves that they have, the oil that's already been processed, that's here in the United States, we're going to run out of that soon. Well, not run out, but there's going to be less oil because we're losing 20% of our stock. 20% of our inventory is not even making it through the Strait of Hormuz. So the prices are going to continue to go up. And like oil companies always do, like if there's a hurricane that shuts down one oil refinery in the Gulf of Mexico, they swear up and down that prices need to go up, and that prices will go up, and they'll be up for months from one day of a hurricane flying through there because it was shut down for one day. So prices go up 50 cents for a whole 6 months because of that. So the price of gas in the United States is not going to go down for a while. It's not going to go down for a while. As a matter of fact, I'm predicting it's going to go up. This is going to hurt for real. And because you have the price of gas going up, the price of everything else is going to go up. And then on top of that, something I didn't know. A lot of the world's fertilizer, or the materials they need to make fertilizer, comes from that part of the world. Goes through that strait. So the fertilizer that a lot of companies, a lot of farms use in the United States comes from over there. The price of fertilizer is about to go up, which means the price of our food, fresh vegetables and things are going to go up. This stuff has a ripple effect, y'all. It's not one simple thing. It's a ripple effect. We saw back in 2007 when they had the housing bubble thing. One of the reasons why the housing bubble happened, or the housing bubble burst, one of the reasons behind it, because gas prices went up. Companies started laying people off. And then people started losing jobs. And then the housing bubble burst because they couldn't afford it. It's a ripple effect. This is not something simple, a war that's only going to affect Europeans. It's going to be a worldwide effect on everything. Anything that uses oil or gas is going to have an effect on. And I do mean anything, because everything that we get is transported. A lot of the stuff that a lot of materials we get is transported using some type of gas, even if it's a train. Because once you see those big containers on trains, well, they take those containers off the trains and put them on trucks. Oil is an essential part of our life now. I ain't gonna say we can't live without it, but it's damn sure hard for us not to have it. So this is going to affect the price of everything. That's something that to me, and we know Trump doesn't think. He just acts on impulse like a 5-year-old child. But the consequences of this war is going to be affected for years. And I've said this for years and years and years. Whenever a Republican is in the White House, the economy gets fucked up. Democrat comes behind and spends the first 2 years trying to change the economy, trying to get the economy back on track. First 2 years of administration. Then they get 1 year of peace, and then they got the election the next year, and there's a whole bunch of stupid stuff going on. That's what we're getting. That's what we're going to get. There's going to be a Democratic president. The next president going to be a Democrat. And they're going to spend the first 2 years trying to fix this mess that Trump got us into. It may take 3 years because he done got us in so much damn trouble, so much debt, so much everything that so much everything that they are going to. It's going to be a somebody was just at my door. I'm sorry, a doorbell rang. Oh, that's FedEx or somebody. Anyway, it's going to affect us from years down the line. So that's not something that we need to brace for this. It's not going to get better anytime soon. Not going to get better anytime soon. We need to brace for this. And one of the things he talked about on that, he says illegal for ships. So he said that we can't that it is illegal for Iran to do a blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Guess who's doing a blockade now? United States against Cuba. What you mean, where's my ring? I got my ring. That's how I knew somebody was at the door. But he's saying that Marco Rubio was talking about that it's illegal to do a blockade. Well, that's what the United States is doing to Cuba for no reason. Like, why are we bothering Cuba? Cuba ain't doing nothing to nobody. Cuba's down there just being Cuba, trying to exist. I mean, we've had a 70 years, almost 60 something year embargo against Cuba for no reason. And now you're blockading, won't allow them to get any supplies, any oil into their country. Why? What's the point? What is the point? But the same thing that we're accusing Iran of doing, we're doing to Cuba. For no reason. At least Iran has a legitimate reason. Oh, y'all want to start a war with us? Okay, we're gonna show you how to win a war. We're gonna show you how to win a war. But we have no beef with Cuba. At least I don't. Hell, I want to go to Cuba. I've been trying to figure out a way to get to Cuba for years. I want to go visit Cuba. Every time I get ready to go, the sanctions get put back on. We can't travel. Travel sanctions are there. That makes no damn sense to me. So we're doing that to Cuba, but we're talking about what Iran is doing. We're doing the exact same thing. Then he talked about how the United States, how Iran is taking over ships in international waters. We did that. We took over 2 or 3 Venezuelan tankers. Don't brag, Angie. Don't brag. Don't brag. I don't need to know all that. But we're talking about he's talking about Iran boarding ships, taking over ships in international water. Well, guess who did that? The United States did it 2 or 3 times with Venezuelan ships. Then went ahead and sold the oil on the ships. Don't nobody know where the money went. Bragged about how much profit they made, and we have no idea where that money went. It damn sure didn't come to us. It didn't come to us. So how you go brag about stealing somebody's oil, stealing the country's oil, then selling it, and then turn around and criticize another nation for doing the same thing? Oh, at Marion, right, you're right. Cuba was able to get some oil from Russia. You know why Russia was able to get through? Because they're not going to fuck with Russia. Let's be real. They were not going to attack a Russian ship. They were not going to do it. So that's why the Russians got the oil through. And all that's doing is strengthening ties between Cuba and Russia. You know, we almost went to war with Russia over Cuba, over Russia having nuclear missiles in Cuba back in the 60s. Now, and Russia over the years basically let Cuba do what it wanted to do. They haven't really had, as far as I can tell, any serious ties where Russia is financing anything over there. No, they can't. They didn't do it. They don't do it anymore. But now you're strengthening ties between Cuba and Russia. Maybe that's Trump's. Maybe that's not enough. if they do have. I never heard of oil fields in Cuba. Um, but maybe that was Trump's plan all along to get Russia involved in Cuba again. I guess I don't know. I have no idea, but it makes no sense to me why you would blockade a country, prevent them from getting oil, lifeline, which they need uh, uh, to fuel everything they got going on in their country, which every country does. Why you would do that now makes no sense to me. There's no strategic purpose to it. Cuba's not going to allow you to come in there. I guess they want to take over Cuba. They want Cuba to be a part of the United States. That's not going to happen. They are not going to do that. They're not going to let you in there. They may let some companies in, put a couple of Marriott hotels and Hyatt hotels and Holiday Inns down there, but that's about it. They ain't gonna get much shit down there. That's not going to happen. Dream. Sorry about that, y'all. Start circling. Whatever his thought process behind it is, it makes no sense to me. I just don't understand it. I don't understand. But that was that video. That was how I saw that video, and I was like, these ass wipes are so hypocritical. So hypocritical. Blaming Iran, saying this is the reason why they invaded Iran or went to war with Iran because of these reasons. They're doing the exact same thing. Exact same thing. Just on a smaller scale, but they're doing the exact same thing. One other thing I want to talk about. Those of you who live in Georgia, I'm sure you've seen these commercials on TV with Rick Jackson and Burt Jones. If you don't know, if you don't live in Georgia, these two guys are two conservative Republicans running for governor of Georgia. And I look at their commercials and I laugh at them because it's like they're both trying to. One of Burt Jones is being supported by Donald Trump. He's Donald Trump endorsed him. Rick Jackson, who's a businessman, billionaire, is trying to out Trump Burt Jones. I mean, he literally says in his commercials, they don't like Donald Trump because he's an outsider, so they're really going to hate me. He invokes Donald Trump in every single one of his commercials. Burt Jones always takes a picture, always shows a picture of him and Trump together. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, that's who you're going to hitch your wagon to. You really and truly believe, as things are deteriorating in this country, in the state of Georgia, that talking about how close you are to Donald Trump, how much you love Donald Trump, how much you want to kiss Donald Trump's feet is going to get you elected in Georgia. Now, I will say this. It might help a little bit with some people, but Donald Trump's brand is not as good as everybody thinks it is anymore. It's not. People aren't going going with him as much as they were before because of all the stuff that he's doing, all the stuff he's done. There's no that his brand is, his supporters are slowly but surely leaving him because of the Epstein stuff, the economy, this war. I mean, the man has a 39% approval rating, which I don't take much stock in polls, but that's pretty low. That's very low. 30-something percent of the people in the that they polled believe that he's doing a good job. That's very, very low. So why would you, as a politician in Georgia, why would you think no, Herschel didn't almost win. Herschel wasn't even close. That wasn't even a thing. But Burt Jones, he more than likely Burt Jones. Well, let's say this. Rick Jackson will probably get the nomination. And might get the nomination mainly because he has more money that he can throw on it. He has a billionaire. He can throw as much money, and his story is very interesting. Uh, um, it's very interesting his story because he grew up in foster care. I don't know if he was adopted, but he grew up in foster care. Like a mother was alcoholic and father died or something to that effect. He tells in one of his commercials, he tells his story. Um, and he says, I started working as a shoe shine boy and then did this and did that. And how he made his money, how he became he was very poor, but ended up becoming a billionaire. Very admirable story. You worked hard, you did your thing. But the fact that he's hitching let's say this, if he wasn't a Trump supporter, he might get my vote simply because of his history. But he's sitting here touting everything that, I agree with President Trump and you definitely won't get my damn vote. You won't get mine. And you won't get a lot of people's vote because you're agreeing with Trump, bringing up ICE and all that. All that stuff, that stupid stuff that Trump is doing, he's up here supporting it. And you think that you're going to win? You're going to win? I don't think so. Now he'll probably win the Republican nomination. Mainly because he has more money. He has more money to spend than Burt Jones. But the two of them, the funny thing is they're doing attack ads on each other. This is real funny. It's real funny, the stuff that they're saying. It's real funny. Oh, yeah. Schwarzer, of course, will endorse him. But that's not going to help him. I don't think, really and truly, Harriet, I don't think at this point a Trump endorsement is going to help the Republican. I don't think. I think that would be, it may help with certain people, the people who just love Trump no matter what. But they, I don't think it'll help because that the number of people who are following Trump and his sycophants now is dwindling and it's getting worse. The longer we have this economy that we have, the more prices keep going up, and prices keep going up, and things are deteriorating in this country economically. He's losing support. And the biggest thing that I don't know how many independents there are in the state of Georgia, but touting Trump stuff, agreeing with everything that Trump does right now is not going to win over independents. It's not. It's not. I think, and I may be wrong. Hell, I've been wrong about a lot of elections lately. Whoever the Democratic nominee is, as long as they don't go out and talk about no extreme stuff, they could possibly win. They could possibly win. But we also have to get our people out to vote, Black people out to vote for real. And as Marion said, people ain't gonna understand, so they feel the pain. Well, they feeling the pain now. They are feeling the pain now. That pain is being felt equally among all of us. So it's not a thing where people are going to say, people are at least dead. Let's say this. We're going to be feeling this pain for years. As long as Democrats keep reminding people that all of this is Trump's fault, it's still they're going to remember it. But they have to keep reminding them. That's all they have to do is keep reminding them. Just keep reminding them. All you got to talk about is, they say, kitchen table stuff. I got to pay this bill. I got to pay that bill. Those things are reminders. Those are constant reminders of the economy and how bad of a job Trump is doing. And if you have somebody that's supporting that's like, oh, yeah, I support Donald Trump no matter what he does. He's a great president, and your bills just went up. You can't afford to fill up your tank anymore because it went from costing you $50 to fill it up now to $75 to fill it up, and you still got to go to work. And you got the TSA workers who still have not gotten paid, which is some crazy shit to me. They still haven't gotten paid. So all of that stuff is going to is going to be, those kitchen table issues are going to be going to affect who becomes governor of Georgia. At least they should anyway. So all Democrats need to do is remind them. Just keep reminding people, hey, Trump did this. Trump did this. It wasn't us. He did it. He went to war. He caused gas prices to go up. He's the one who did the tariffs. Them 10% tariffs that he put on there caused products, simple products that you always buy, to go up. Your food prices going up. What he said he was going to run on, you said watch Tesla prices go up, sales go up. You think so? But those are issues, those kitchen table issues are stuff that's going to affect this election. As well they should. And in my opinion, if Democrats just go out and just talk about the kitchen table issues. Somebody saw something earlier and talking about, well, should Democrats talk about impeaching Trump? No, don't worry about it. Fuck Trump. Talk about the stuff that he did. Talk about the fact that, you're paying $25 more to fill up your tank than you did a year ago or 2 years ago when Biden was in office. Talk about the price, as he did. Talk about the price of eggs. Talk about the price of food. Those are real issues that people have to talk about, that people have to deal with. Those aren't issues. Those aren't abstract issues, way off issues. Those are things that affect people on a daily basis. And how these prices going up are affecting small businesses. He touted all these small businesses and all this and all that, how he's going to help them out. No, that's not working. So the winning formula is to talk about the kitchen table issues. So if there's any people in here listening to me that are Democratic operatives or candidates or anything like that running for whatever office in the state of Georgia, go ahead and start talking about that. Don't talk in abstract. Talk about the price of gas. Talk about how it costs you $25 more to fill up your car. Talk about that. That's stuff that people can relate to. Talk about how we don't even talk about eggs. Leave the eggs alone, because we already know he lied about that. Talk about the price of beef. Things like that. Talk about those things. That's what you need to. God damn, who's knocking on that doorbell now? Anyway, talk about those things. Those are the things that we need to talk about. Those are the things that affect everyday people in their everyday lives. That's what we need to talk about. The last thing I want to talk about in the last few minutes is something I saw the other day that had me tripping. Of course, those of you know this is Masters Week here in Augusta, so it brings everybody out. A lot of people come to town from different places and all that. I saw a picture of the mayor of Augusta, who's a quote unquote Democrat, take a picture with Brian Kemp. Now, I don't think it was AI, but if it is, I apologize. But in my opinion, that that's crazy. Your former ministry at Red Fort will be hosting voter registration this month. Oh shoot, that's cool. But anyway, Brian Kemp, the mayor of Augusta, Democrat, black man, taking a picture with a white man that knocked thousands of black people off the voter rolls when he was Secretary of State for Georgia. That's a slap in the face. Let's be real. I don't care he's the governor of Georgia. You are the mayor of Augusta, a predominantly black city, and he knocked off, he kicked thousands of people off the rolls, the voter rolls in Georgia for no reason. Just random people they picked. Same thing with his the person who came after him, Brad Raffensperger. That's why I don't have no respect for Brad Raffensperger. I don't care about that he recorded a conversation with Trump. He still ain't shit to me. They both did that. Hundreds of thousands of people, most of them black and brown people, most of them black people, period. They kicked off the rolls, made it harder for black people to vote. There is nowhere in hell as a black politician I would ever take a picture with that snake. I'm sorry. That's disrespectful to my ancestors. That is totally disrespectful to my ancestors. For you to take a picture with a man who tried to make it harder for our people to vote when our people died for the right to vote. That's it. That right there is a slap in the face of our ancestors. You spit on their graves. Garnett Johnson. Isn't that his name? Garnett Johnson? Mayor Johnson, whatever the hell. You spit on their grave. That is so disrespectful to our ancestors for you to take a picture. And for those of you who think that that's not it's not that big of a deal, it's a big deal because he is trying to curry the Republican vote in Augusta because he's running for re-election. That's why he took that picture. Now, since I moved back to Augusta, I have been trying to think of trying to figure him out. I've asked several people about him, and I've been getting mixed, mixed reaction to him. But something I had a conversation with somebody the other day about him. And she doesn't even live in Georgia, but she lives in North Augusta, but she knows him. And she was saying that, talking about all the things he's done in Augusta since he's been in office. I was like, what has he done? Well, one of the biggest things I think that needs to be done, two of the biggest things is there's that Regency Mall situation is still going on for the last 30 years. And they still haven't figured out what to do with that. But one issue that I have that's personal to me, if you know anything about Augusta, if you're from Augusta, you know the area called the Bottom, East Augusta. I have family that lived down there. They've lived down there for years, going all the way back to the 60s. I've had family that live in the Bottom, East Augusta. When I moved back here, and I never paid too much attention to it till I moved back here and I started going to my aunt's house and, looking around the neighborhood and all that. There's not a grocery store down there. Not one grocery store down there. The closest grocery stores are either further out toward where I live in South Augusta or going up Washington Road, West Augusta. Now, there's several of them going up Washington Road, several of them going West Augusta. That area up there going into going in Columbia County, all that. Several of them. Over here where I live, there's several of them over here. Hell, I can walk to two of them in probably about 10 minutes. I can walk to two of them, or 15 minutes. I can walk to two of them. There's a bunch of them over here, but not one down there. And something that I said to her, they said, well, because of theft, grocery stores don't want to locate down there and all that. There's theft everywhere. There's theft at every store. It's written into that's something, that's an acceptable loss, theft. So that's not an excuse. And even if it was an excuse, one other thing that I said, why don't the city own a grocery store? City could do the same thing. They could contract with local farmers for vegetables and fruits and meat and all that stuff, beef, chicken, all that stuff. That's possible. The city can do that. A city run grocery store, it'll take some work, but it can be done. I'm sick and tired of it. My mother, when she was alive, she always talked about how stupid the politics was here in Augusta. The people who ran Augusta. This is what my mother was telling me. I guess that's where I get my radical ideas from. Talking to my mother. But she would talk about how stupid the leadership of Augusta is. And it hasn't changed. They keep doing the same things over and over again, and nothing ever changes. Why is that area of Augusta a food desert? That doesn't make any sense to me. We need to do better. And that's why it pissed me off when I saw that picture of him with Brian Kemp. Because Kemp doesn't give a shit about Augusta. He does not give a shit about Augusta. Why would you take a picture with him? That is so disrespectful. So he will not be getting my vote. Matter of fact, I'm going to do my best to campaign against him. I will never, ever, ever give that man my vote. I will never support him in any way. What you said, it actually makes plenty of sense. What are you talking about? It's Marion. There's always been the waterfront. The River Watch has been there for years. Riverwalk has been there for years, and they're not even taking care of that. They dedicated the Riverwalk itself was the idea of the first black mayor of Augusta, uh, um, Ed McIntyre. That was an idea, and when they dedicated, they finally got around to dedicating the Riverwalk to him. They did a little ceremony and all that. And when they did the ceremony, I attended the ceremony, was looking at it, and I'm like, okay. They couldn't even bother to clean up the area where they were doing the ceremony. Didn't bother to clean it up. You're dedicating the Riverwalk, or at least that section of the Riverwalk, to the first black mayor of Augusta, whose vision created this. This was his idea, his thoughts, this was his baby, and he didn't live long enough to see it. But this was his baby. This was he wanted. And you can't even bother to have the city clean up that area before you do the dedication. Hell. And I even addressed that to a city council member because I was so pissed about it. Because I was at the ceremony, as I said. I even mentioned that to one of the city council members whose area it's in. I think that's District 1. And I mentioned to him, he's like, well, we couldn't get the, because of the hurricane, there was some damage and we couldn't get anybody to come in here and clean it. I said, all you need to do is somebody just power wash it. You couldn't get, the city doesn't have any power washers. Hell, I have a power washer. I would have come down here and done it. It's not rocket science. The Riverwalk, and I love the Riverwalk. Because I love looking at water. I walk down there, not as much as I want to, but I do walk down there. And I love it because I just love the serenity of it. But it's in disrepair. You want this to be the premier area in Augusta where people come and relax, but you don't take care of it. All of this stuff, this is simple stuff. It's not rocket science. The things that we need to do in Augusta, it does not take much. And as much money as we throw away on consultants and doing this bullshit and that bullshit, looking at this and looking at that, you could spend that money just fixing up the damn city. Just fix it up. If you keep letting things deteriorate, people are not going to have any pride in it, and they're not going to take care of it. There was I mentioned this before. I think I mentioned it before. The thing called I think it's called the broken windows theory. Um, and it says if somebody breaks a window in the neighborhood and you fix it, and then they break it again, and you fix it. Every time they break it, you fix it, they'll stop breaking it. But if they break the window and you don't fix it, they're gonna break more windows. So every time the theory is if you let stuff go and don't fix stuff and don't take care of it, it's going to get worse. It does not get better. So that's what we need to do here in Augusta. Stop sitting back, letting things deteriorate, and start fixing shit. We can find money to do every goddamn thing in Augusta. And it needs to be taken care of in West Augusta, but it can't take care of the rest of Augusta. Can't find money for that shit, but y'all can fix every goddamn thing that goes wrong up there. Because that's where the white folk come when they come to the masters. Fuck them masters. Take care of your people who are here every day. That's a 1 week thing. The rest of the weeks, we take care of this city. And we deserve better. And we deserve better leadership. So, as I said, and it's after 11 o'clock. So, as I said, the mayor of Augusta, I have no respect for him at all. The leadership of Augusta, no respect. Until y'all start taking care of the people of Augusta, and not just one part of Augusta, I don't want to hear shit else you got to say. I will not support any of you until you start taking care of the rest of Augusta. Make the rest of Augusta a priority. It ain't rocket science. It ain't hard. It ain't expensive. And if it is expensive, it's our goddamn money to begin with. Take care of the people of Augusta, the real people of Augusta, the ones who actually live here. Take care of them. And if you want to increase the population, because the city population is decreasing because everybody wants to move out to the suburbs, Columbia County and all that stuff, Grovetown, all that. You want people to live here? What you need to start doing is taking care of the city. You take care of the city, the education the system will change. It will. It will. They're not two separate issues. They're part of the same thing. They are part of the same thing. We need to stop treating it as its separate entities and start treating it as it is. It's the same thing. The economic issues, the crime, the deterioration, all of that is the same thing. It's a part of the same problem. So if you want to address the issues, address all of them. Take care of the people. You take care of the people, they'll take care of the city. It may take a while, but at least start somewhere. Do something. And something as simple as putting a grocery store in the bottom will go a long way. I guarantee you it will go a long way toward changing things. All right, y'all, listen. I'm about to go out here and do some yard work, do some manly mind work. Go out here and plant some flowers. I'm in a flower planting mood. So, listen, it's been a pleasure not being interrupted by Leonard today. I hope y'all enjoyed the conversation, or kind of a one-sided conversation. Oh, and Angie, yeah, you're right. Poor health is big business. It is. It definitely is. It always has been and always will be. And yes, they do purposely do that to keep certain people, their status, keep people poor. But we got to work on that. Oh, also, Angie, I sent you something in your direct messaging. So I don't want to hear nothing from you because I sent this to you and you got time to take care of it. So I won't hear nothing else from you about this, about you can't make it or anything like that. Anyway, y'all, and hit me up. It's been a pleasure. Leonard should be back next week. Hopefully, I should be back as well next week. I've been on spring break and I'm tired. So I need to get some rest after I do this yard work. Anyway, y'all have a good week. Be safe, and I'll talk to you next week. Deuces.